What's up guys, Ghost here, how are you all doing? Today I'm going to be bringing you guys some more changes from the CTE or the community test environment. So I suppose we better tackle the big elephant in the room first of all, because that's what's all on our minds at the moment. For those of you who pay attention to the CTE and fly jets, you'll know that DICE have drastically changed up the jets with a new prototype. So the jet turning physics have been drastically changed, and it says here on the notes, for the ones in know, 313 is dead. Now what they're referring to is the optimal speed of turning, and that optimal speed was around 313. So as I'm sure many of you guys know, whenever you were looping in a jet, whether it be a vertical loop, a horizontal loop, you would try to maintain a speed of around 313 or as close there as, thereby you would get the best loop possible, and that's pretty much just a mandatory thing that you had to learn for dogfighting. It was the most basic thing, it was the thing I covered in my very first tutorial as well, and it was just a given. If you couldn't maintain that speed control, you probably weren't going to do very well in the jets. So DICE have apparently decided to go ahead and scrap that speed control model for this prototype, so how tight your turns will be no longer depends entirely on your speed control. Now, I must say I was quite shocked to hear this change. I was at work all weekend and people were tweeting at me saying, Ghost, you have to make a video on these changes, and I had no idea about them. I was like, what? They're changing the speed control? DICE did state that they would implement some changes to the entire aircraft in the game. After they implemented the attack helicopter changes with the physics, they did say that they were going to be taking a look at jets, but I had somehow always imagined that it would be other issues, like perhaps the stealth jets not really being able to take out infantry in any way at all, so maybe look at giving them JDAMs, or buffing their cannons against infantry, or fixing ECM, or nerfing the AA tank, or something like that. I had no idea that they were going to go ahead and completely change the way the physics work. So with these changes in mind, I decided to go ahead and conduct a little looping test to try and ascertain what speed was better for a tight turn after the current changes. So in a minute I'm going to be showing you 3 different perspectives, and one of those perspectives will show me doing normal speed control, so I will be doing my best to maintain a speed control of 313. In the second screen I will be putting the pedal down to the floor and literally just holding in the accelerate key as I'm looping, and we'll see how that works out. And in the third one I will be going as slow as I possibly can. Alright, so as you can see, I have the jets lined up on exactly the same part of the horizon, and for this test I'm going to be doing a simple vertical loop, so I'll be holding down spacebar to pitch up to the maximum the entire time. The only difference will be the speed control. Alright, so if we pause here for a second, you can see that it's actually the screen where I'm putting down the pedal that has the best turning speed. I've actually gained the most amount of ground by simply holding down the accelerate key. The 313 speed control is of course not far behind, but the one where I'm going at around 250, 260, 270 is lagging drastically behind. And if we pause again here after 2 consecutive loops, you can see that the disparity between the different speed controls is growing greater and greater. The one with the faster speed seems to be getting around the loop faster than the others. So these findings are actually quite valuable information. Apparently, according to this, if you want to do a 360 loop as fast as possible, then putting the pedal to the metal and accelerating as much as possible is the best course to go. This is of course in the attack jet, so don't apply these findings to the stealth jet because I haven't yet tested them out with the afterburner. However, that isn't the only thing that matters in a dogfight. How wide your loop is matters as well. Cutting and all that kind of stuff is very, very important. And obviously the faster you are going, the wider a loop you're going to make, and the slower you go, the more narrow it will be. So taking a look at the forum post over on the CTE forums, I can link this to you guys down below in the description. There seems to really be 2 different opinions forming over there. Half of the people say, you know what? This is a great change. It's going to allow amateur pilots to get into dogfighting without having to learn this arbitrary speed control like they had to before, and it's also going to change up dogfighting as well. Beforehand, you had all kinds of things like cuts, rudder switches, normal switches, scissors, all of these different elements coming together to try to outsmart your opponent. But speed control really wasn't something that you could change. You just had to have speed control at around 313, and whoever could do that the best would often gain an advantage in a dogfight. Whoever was worse at it would have the disadvantage. So now speed control has become one of the variables, one of the things that you can change, just like you can change the direction that you choose to switch in. So now when you're behind a jet, you don't just think of the arbitrary speed control. It doesn't really work like that anymore. You have to try to match the speed control of the jet in front of you. Because if he drastically slows down, he's pretty much going to be doing something similar to a Dylan, and you're going to overshoot him, and you will then be the one who is toast. However, on the other hand, we also have a lot of pilots that really disagree with this change, and, you know, I can understand those pilots as well. People have spent longer than a year on this game, training to get good at the jets, playing the jets a lot to get that speed control down to muscle memory, and now they kind of feel like they're being stabbed in the back. They're just taking that out of the game, you know, and especially since people have this down to muscle memory, when you're in a vertical loop, when you're in a horizontal loop, when you're going diagonally, when you're doing scissors, there's going to be lots of pilots out there who carry on doing the speed control method without even really thinking about it, and I'm probably one of those that are included in that bunch. So it's really going to be something that everybody is going to have to adapt with again, and I must say we've already had to do quite a lot of adapting with the FOV changes coming in, the jet roll on or off option. If you wanted to change that, then once again you had to adapt your third person speed control and get good at that. You guys remember me doing that and making a video about that. So now we're going to have to go through that process once again and essentially relearn how to dogfight. So what do you guys think about this? I would love to hear your opinions, and I would love for you to leave them down below in the comment section. Let's get some conversation going here. Personally, I'm a little bit on the fence. I can see how it would offer up some more diverse and dynamic dogfights, but at the same time, it's definitely going to give more amateur pilots a very easy kill on some more skilled pilots. So I can understand, you know, where people are coming from. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. There were, of course, a few more CTE changes. I'm sure you guys have already heard about the hit marker changes, so I don't really see the need to cover that. You've definitely already seen somebody's video on that, because I've seen about 5 so far. Alright, guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, don't forget to leave your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.